according to John. When you find the gospel according to John, we're looking at a passage from verse 1 through 9. John 9, verse 1 through 9. When you have that before you, if you would stand with us for the reading of the word in reverence to God, not just out of tradition, but in reverence to God, the very word that he has given us. Amen. John 9, St. John 9, verses 1 through 9. The word of the Lord from the King James Version reads this way. And as Jesus passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth. And the disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered, Neither has this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. I must work the works of him who sent me. While it is day, the night comes when no man can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When he had thus spoken, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay. He said unto him, Go wash in the pool of Siloam, which is by interpretation sent. He went his way therefore and washed and came seeing. The neighbors therefore and they which before had seen him who was blind said, Is not this he who sat and begged? Some said, This is he, and others said, He is like him. But he said, I am he. If the Lord shall bless and say the same, beloved, I want to share with thee from a message entitled, Seeing Beyond Our Blindness. Seeing beyond our blindness. Let's pray before going right into the word. Father in heaven, we thank you today for God, how you have blessed us, oh God. We thank you, God, for such an awesome praise and worship. God, we're grateful for what you have done. Grateful, God, that you woke us up this morning. Grateful, God, that we could be in your house once again. Grateful, God, that this is your house and it shall be called the house of prayer. Grateful, God, for a reasonable portion of health. Grateful, God, that we have one more opportunity to share your word and to live this life as an example unto you. Now, God, as we come before you today, God, I pray, God, that you would open the ears of your people, that they might hear from on high, that the word would go forth with conviction, piercing and penetrating the hearts of your people, God, that someone may run to the altar saying, What must I do to be saved? For it is in Jesus' name that we pray these and all prayers. Let all of God's people say, Thank God. Amen. Amen. Please be seated in his presence. Amen. Thank God for what he has for us. Beloved God, I want to share with you from this message and let you know that unbelieving people are blind to the purpose for which Jesus Christ actually came into the world. Beloved, they would rather discard the Bible as just another old book somebody wrote long time ago. Tucked inside that precious book, this book called the Bible, filled with his scripture, tucked within that book are the stories of man's journey with God. A journey that led to the fulfillment of God's preordained plan for man, which is Christ's offer of salvation. How many of us know that each and every one of us have a preordained plan from God? Right. I was talking this past week, and some of you have heard a pastor's story that I grew up in an adopted home. Not with my biological family, but an adopted home where we were well taken care of, and I thank God for it. But this past week I was blessed. I got a chance to talk to my mother's oldest brother for the very first time, and we talked and spent about 2 hours on the phone, and he ran down a family history, and of course the conversation turned toward church, and and we were discussing some of the folks that have come along in our family. And I found out in our conversation that I come from a long line of preachers. I told him, I said, Uncle G, I said, I always thought I was the only preacher in our family. He said, oh, no, man. You come from a long line of preachers. I tell you that to make the point that all of us have a preordained plan from God. First time somebody told me that I would be a preacher, I thought it was a joke. I told them, you got jokes. But God has a plan for you and I that sometimes we don't see or understand. God knows just what He has for each and every one of us. God's preordained plan for man was to offer Jesus for their salvation. Beloved, how can you discard a book that contains such a priceless proposition? Maybe it's because they have not yet heard or read or even understood what is contained in this book. Saints, beloved, I want to share with you that we have our work cut out for us. John's gospel record of the healing of the blind man is a great story to use as a witnessing tool. Beloved, the story here spells out in the first person the purpose of Christ's mission. The law clearly blamed all infirmities on sin. Those born with an infirmity were believed to be suffering for the sins of their parents. Some folks still believe today that they're suffering because of the sins of their parents, rather than acknowledging that they're, well, let me leave that alone. Come on. Those, beloved of God, born with an infirmity were believed to be suffering for the sins of their parents. So the disciples asked Jesus, this man was born blind. Who sinned? Was it he or was it his parents? Now, beloved, sometimes we get sidetracked by our own self-centeredness sometimes and often lose sight of the big picture. The truth is that life is full, or life is a journey full of heartaches and blessings. It is the case that life is a journey full of good days and sometimes bad days. Life is filled with sometimes trials and triumphs, sometimes ups and downs. Life's journey is filled with some wins and some losses. It's filled, beloved, with conflicts and challenges that together all of these things teach us the lessons that keep us connected to Christ. If I didn't know the Lord the way I did, I probably would have quit. Long time ago. Matter of fact, I felt like quitting long time ago. I said, I'm going to stop pastoring, I'm going to stop preaching. It's just not worth it. I'm going back to school, get me a degree in marketing. I'm going to work for somebody, make me $70,000 because this church stuff ain't working. God has a plan for each of us. It may, beloved of God, have been the spit and the clay that got their attention, but the disciples were also privy to a priceless teaching moment about the purpose of Christ's mission. Let me point out three things to you this morning, and then I'll take my seat. The first thing I want to point out to you is that Jesus came to work the works of God. He taught his disciples, saying, I must work the works of him who sent me. Beloved, Christ warned them to know that his work was preordained by his Father. We like to think about the wonderful works that Jesus accomplished during Christ's earthly ministry. We like to remember how he offered mercy to those whom the world had cast out and rejected. People like the tax collector and the Samaritan and the thief on the cross, we brag about how he offered God's grace to those who were guilty and show them the way back to God. Man, beloved of God, was canoeing in northern Minnesota, where the lakes are connected by short footpaths that are called portages, Minister Jackson. And he knew that canoeing in that area can be very confusing. He stopped for lunch on one of those beautiful pine-covered islands and watched as a young couple in a canoe kept circling the lake. They were poking around in each portage, and the couple finally stopped the man while he was eating his lunch and paddled over to him and asked him. They said, "Mister, can you tell us how to get back to the Lake One portage?" The man said, "You're on the Lake One portage." The woman in the canoe, she burst into tears and she said, "We've been paddling out here for 2 days. We're on our honeymoon and it's been awful. We just want to go home." Her tears melted the man's heart and he said, "Follow me. And I will take you where you want to go." And so their nightmare was over because by his grace, this man showed them the way. Come on. I share that story to you, beloved, because that's what Jesus came to do for you and me. He came to show us the way. He came to offer us the same grace, a grace that transcends the centuries, because he offered his greatest work on the cross of Calvary. Once and for all, he followed his Father's instructions to the letter and paid the price for the sins of that tax collector named Matthew. Paid the price for that adulterer named Mary Magdalene. Paid the price for the thief on the cross. I would dare say paid the price for you and for me. Christ came to conclude his Father's offer of salvation to all of mankind. So Jesus said, "I must work the works of him who sent me." Well, the second thing I want to point out to you, beloved of God, is that you find that Jesus came to be the light of the world. We read it in the book of John, where it lets us know that mankind was living in the darkness of sin. The Mosaic law could not save even God's chosen people. God had a plan B. Look at somebody, say it's good to have a plan B. Plan B. He had a plan B, beloved, laid out from the foundation of the world. Paul summarized it for us in Romans 8, verse 3 and 4. Paul says, "For what the law could not do, him that it was weak through the flesh, God sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit." You see, there was a woman, beloved of God, who she would fall into a numbing depression every winter. Some days she would find it difficult to even drag herself out of bed to go to work. She could barely function from time to time. She thought that there was something terribly wrong with her. And she did not understand why she could not feel cheerful no matter how rested she was or how hard she tried. And then she heard about an experiment in light therapy at Johns Hopkins University. It seems that scientists are discovering that just as plants need a certain amount of light to thrive, so do people. The woman enrolled in the program, and the doctors discovered that her depression was induced by her light-starved environment in the winter. She worked in a windowless office, and sun up to winter's early sundown, 6 days a week. She what's worse, she spent the 7th day locked away in her dark bedroom, trying to rest her way to a more cheerful demeanor. Yes. Of course, that only made matters worse, but the solution was simple. Yes. Spend more time in the light. Beloved, Jesus came to shed his light on all of us. You want to fight what your situation is showing you? Spend more time in the light. You want to overcome your own situation? Spend more time in the light. Oh, beloved, Jesus came to shed light on us, to take us out of the darkness of our sinful world. But as with any light, it won't help until we turn it on. Come on. What good is light if you never throw the switch? If we want to work our way out of trials and tribulation, we have to spend more time in the light. So Jesus came to work the works of his Father, beloved, and be the light of the world. But there's one more thing that Jesus came to do. The third and final thing that I want to point out to you is that Jesus came to give sight to the blind. I'm not just talking about blind of those who cannot physically see. There's a whole lot of blind folks walking around that can see where they're going but don't know where they're going. They're talking to me. There's a whole lot of blind folks that think they know and really don't know. I find it ironic in life that when you're young, you think you know everything, when you really don't know nothing. And then when you get a little older and life has got on you a little bit, you absolutely know that you really don't know a whole lot. Come on. The older I've gotten, the more I realize there's very little that I know. But when I was young, you couldn't tell me nothing. I knew it all. Now I'm wondering where it went. Or was it ever there to begin with? Beloved God, man had the answer right in front of him. But he could not see it. He was blind. He was surrounded by his Creator, but sin had blinded him to the truth of his need for salvation. Jesus said to his disciples, I am the light of the world. It wasn't the first time the disciple had heard this claim. In fact, John records that Jesus made this the focal point of his teaching. When you read in the book of John, you listen to what John records that Jesus said. In John 8:12, Jesus said, I am the light of the world, and he that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. And then you read in John 11, verses 9 and 10, and Jesus said, if any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of the world. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there's no light in him. And then you read in John 12, verse 35 and 36, where Jesus said, yet a little while is the light with you. Walk while ye have the light, lest darkness come upon you. For he that walketh in darkness knoweth not whither he goeth. While ye have light, believe in the light, that ye may be the children of light. You see, it's clear that some folks with Bibles on their coffee tables and even some evangelists all over our television screens choose to stumble in darkness like blind men. For it ought to be clear to them that the light, beloved, has come. There were two men, and I shared this story with you and I'm almost done, but there were two men by the name of Roy and Martin. And they had been great friends for many years. They worked together in the engineering department department of this aeronautical manufacturer. But downsizing came to their company, and that downsizing landed both of them on the unemployment line at the age of 58. Neither could find employment, and both of them had lost their health insurance. Well, Roy was a diabetic. One morning, Martin heard a knock on his door, and it was his good friend Roy, and Roy was in a panic. Oh, diabetic retinopathy had struck overnight, and he was now almost completely blind. Martin put him in his car and took him to what would become regular trips to the doctor, as well as to the stores and even to church. Roy refused to hold Martin's arm when they went in and out of buildings because he didn't want anyone to know that he was legally blind. He always walked one step behind Martin and looked straight ahead, listening to Martin's voice. Step up, turn left, watch the door in front of you. Roy trusted his steps to the one who he had chosen to be his guide. Beloved, isn't that the way our lives are? We never know what lies ahead, but we learn to trust the Lord, who is our guide. You see, we can see a little, but what we don't see can be scary. Oh, but like Roy, who trusts the shadowy outline of Martin's figure ahead of him and listens for the quiet voice that guides him through life's maze, we too have to learn to listen for that still and small voice of God. Move ahead in faith, knowing that we will arrive safely at our destination if we just trust Him. Amen. You see, that's how we see beyond our blindness, beloved of God. We must trust that Christ is our guide and will lead us in the right way. Yes, oh, because if we would trust that Jesus is our guide, then Christ will make every burden bearable. Come on. If we would just trust that Christ can be our guide, then Christ can make every chasm crossable. If we would just trust that Christ can be our guide, then He'll make every pain endurable. If you and I would just trust that Christ can be our guide, then Minister Jackson, He'll make every disappointment faceable. If you and me could just trust that Christ will be our guide, then Jeff, He'll make every obstacle movable. If you and I could trust that He'll be our guide, then Sister Alice, He'll make every decision sensible. He'll make every turn discernible. You see, He is the lamp of our feet and the light unto our path. It's Christ that navigates life's landscape. And just as John the Baptist prophesied, He makes our crooked roads straight and all of our rough roads smooth. You just have to trust Him to be your guide. And when you trust that Jesus will lead you, He'll turn every tear into a triumph. When you trust that Jesus will lead you, He'll turn your gloom into your glory. When you trust that Jesus will lead you, beloved, He'll turn your weakness into strength. He'll turn your barrenness into fruitfulness. When you trust that Christ will lead you, He'll turn your wants into your abundance. He'll turn the do-nots into the do-alls. He'll turn, beloved, the not believing into the believing all. He's the one that can take the stony heart and turn it into a heart of flesh. He's the one that can take rejection and turn it into surrender. He can turn, beloved, worries into worship. He'll bring you out of the streets into the sanctuary. He'll take you out of the doldrums and place you in the pulpit. You and I have to see beyond our blindness. And the only way we can see beyond our blindness is to trust God. Trust Him, as you heard us say, when you can't trace Him. don't have the answers to everything.
Yes, Lord.
I don't know how everything is going to work out.
Come on.
All I have to do is really just trust him.
Yes, Lord.
Because he has the answers.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Lord.
And if he's made me a promise,
Yes, Lord.
then the answer to his promises
Yes.
are yes and amen. And beloved, if the word has gone out, preacher told us on Wednesday, that word, even though it may not be fulfilled at the moment,
Yes.
it's still with you.
Yes,
Man.
It cannot return to God
Yes.
until it is fulfilled.
Yes.
Come on, come on, come on.
Yes.
Whatever he has promised unto you
Hey.
cannot return to God until it is accomplished.
Yes. My God.
So if God has spoken anything to you, or if you have stood on anything that you have read in the book,
Yes, sir.
Yes, Lord.
it has got to be so, because number one, God can't lie.
Yeah.
The very thing that he said cannot return to him without accomplishing
Yes.
just what he said.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Lord Jesus.
Love of God, there was a time when he looked down upon the earth and he couldn't find anybody to swear by.
Yes, Lord.
And the Bible tells me that he swore by himself.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Beloved, why did he swear by himself? Because when that word that he swore by returned, it had to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Come on.
Whether it was fulfilled by his chosen people or not,
Yes, Lord.
still had to be fulfilled by God.
Yes, sir.
So, beloved of God, hold on to what it is he has spoken unto you.
Yes, Lord.
Hold on to what it is he has given unto you. The how, what, why, when, and who is not up to us.
Yeah. Yes.
It's up to God.
All right.
Now, if you anything like Pastor, you like some answers.
Yes, Lord.
Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
You like some direction. You like to know the way out, which way to go and how to get there and when it's going to happen and who's going to do it, how it's going to come and what's going to come of it and what the result is going to be. God doesn't speak all those things to us.
Yes, sir.
And all of those things will happen and come about in his time.
Yes, sir.
The Bible says that man can make all the plans he wants to.
Yes.
God has the final say.
Yes, sir.
Am I right?
Yes.
Well, I made a whole lot of plans and been disappointed. Only to realize that God was never in them to begin with.
All right.
Y'all ain't talking to me.
Yes, sir.
Because he has the final say.
That's right.
I even told somebody one day, there was one time in my life when as I was sharing with you, that someone said, one day you're going to be a preacher. I said, that's the craziest thing I ever heard. That never happened. That never happened. Never happened. And even after I became a preacher, somebody said, one day you're going to pastor. So that would never happen.
Yep.
Just recently, a preacher told me that prophet says, one day you're going to be a bishop. And I'm thinking, I don't know about that. I ain't going to say that it'll never happen. Because the things that I said would never happen before happened.
Yeah.
All right.
So never say never.
Amen.
Why? Because God has the preordained plan.
All right.
And whether you have the answers or know how it's going to be, guess what? It's in his hands. Am I right? It's in his hands. You want to see past and beyond your own blindness? Just trust God. Let him do the work. Let's all stand together.